Hey all, as promised last night, I'm going to be sending out this tutorial on frames. Something that you probably didn't think would happen. Anyway, we'll push on. So, frames. Frames allow us to put a very simple navigation system into our website. For this demonstration, we need three particular files. Those files being navbar.html, top.html, home.html. We're going to use these three particular files in our frame set. So the frame, as explained before, is something similar to a container. There's no particular page on the frame set. It just contains these three files. So we'll jump straight into it. So we'll go File, and we'll say New. So we need to go straight into the code editor here. So when we're inserting a frame set, we need to insert it in the head section. So we'll just go down here, click into the head, we'll click Insert, and we'll go to Frame Designer. Okay. So when this dialog box opens up, we'll see on the left hand side here that it's got a standard 4 frame. For our demonstration, we're going to use a standard 3 frame because we only have 3 files. So you'll see this section here is blue. This is the section that's highlighted at the moment. So we're going to give this frame, so there's one frame at the top. We're going to use top.html up here. In the center here, we're going to use home.html, and on the left hand side, we're going to use navbar.html. So we'll start off with top.html. So we're going to give it a name. So we're going to call it top. We're going to give it a source. We're going to call it top.html. So you can see here that we can change the frame height. So if I put that to 20% or 40% just to exaggerate it, you can see how much it's moved down. But we're going to leave it, we'll leave it at 20% actually. So click into the other sections you want to alter. So we'll click on this section. So now you can see it's highlighted blue. So you can see that the frame height is now 80 because there's 20 above it. And the width is 90 because to its left. So we'll give this a name. And we're going to call this, what shall we call this? We shall call this main. And we'll give it a URL, which is home.html. Then we'll click on the left hand side for our navbar. And again, we're going to name this left. We're going to give it a source URL, which is navbar.html. And we can extend the width of it if we like, so we'll put it at 20. So now if we click into the home or the main, we'll see that its frame height and width are now 80, 20 to its left, 20 to its top. Is that okay? So we'll click OK. Now we'll just have a quick look through this and see what the frame set. So we can see there's a frame set, so there's the opening frame set, the closing frame sets are down here. There's the name, top. We can see the name is left, name is main. So source is navbar.html, source is home.html, and again there's a width, there's a margin width, there's a margin height. There's no frame borders at the moment. And this is probably a question that does come up in the exam, change scrolling. So at the moment it's automatic. So if there's more content than what we need, there will be scrolling. If not, it will not appear. So we'll just make sure that we save that, because at the moment we can see there's a little star here, meaning it's not been saved. So let's just click save. And it asks us to give it a name. So you can see my working directory is on my desktop, and it's called site. We'll call it Webstarter actually, sorry. Webstarter, so I'm going to save it in here. And I'm going to call this index_frame. And click save. Okay, so now we can see it's saved, and there's no star next to it. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at the preview, see what it looks like. Okay, so we can see that's what it looks like at the moment. Now, again, like I said, this is a container, so this top banner up here is just showing 20% of navbar.html. On the left hand side, this is showing 20% sorry, this is showing 20% of navbar, this is showing 20% of top.html, and this is showing 80% of home.html. Now the objective here is for the banner to always remain the same, for the navigation here on the left to always remain the same, but when we click on the links in here, that this main content here changes. So it just helps us have a simple navigation. It cuts down on the time that we need to create links, and it just makes life a little bit easier for us. So at the moment, let's just see what happens. So if I click on Unit 1, so let's just test this in a default browser. So if I click on Unit 1 here, it's changing. So we can see that Home will appear, Unit 1 will appear, and Unit 2 will appear. Now, I have already had this set up, so I'm going to go back and show you how these changes were made. Okay, so let's have a look in Coffeecup. So I'm just going to my Dreamweaver or my Webstarter folder, and I'm going to click on Navbar. I'm going to open that up, and we're going to have a look at the code. Okay, so just again to look at the visual editor, you'll see that I had 3 links. I mean, I have 5 altogether, but I'm just using 3. So what we need to do here is we need to specify where these links are going to open up. So when we click on Home, we want it to open up in the main frame. And again, the main frame is the one that's going to be in the center. Okay, so let's have a look at the code. So I just had a table, a simple table. Here's the table opener. Here's the height, the width, and a border. So they're attributes of the table. Then I have 3, 4. I have 5 rows. So TR are for rows, TDs are for columns. So within the first row of my first column, I have a link in there that's called href is equal to home.html. So when you click on this link, it will open up home.html. But the important bit of code that's here is target is equal to main, right? So you'll remember, if I just click on index frame.html just to show you this. So when I created the frame set for home, so the source is home, I called it main. And it's that main that I'm referring to in the navbar. Okay, so target is equal to main. So I want everything to open up in the main section. The main section being the 80%, the main content container. Similarly, I do the same thing for href unit1 underscore html. Target is equal to main. Target is equal to main. Now, just to show you what would happen if I removed target is equal to main. So let's just take that out. And we'll save that. Now let's preview this. Sorry, let's preview index.underscore frame. Test in default browser. So now when I click on home, it just brings up the whole section in the left hand side, not necessarily in the main section where we want it to happen. So let's go back to close those down. Let's go back to Coffeecup. Let's go into the navbar. So the code, a little bit of code we need to say when you click on this link, so when you click on home, I want you to open this page, but you need to tell it where to open it. So just after the inverted commas, we'll click target, and we'll write in main. And we'll go back to index underscore frame. And again, we'll preview it. And we all know that we test in default browser. And we can see when I click on home, that's there. When I click on unit 1, that's there. When I click on unit 2, that's there. And again, home. So hopefully people have got the idea as to what's happening here. The important thing, I suppose, is when you do set up each frame, that you give it a name, that you tell it what source it's to open up. So home.html, navbar.html, and top.html. So that's what's to be in each section. That's the default piece that's in each section, and you can give it a margin width. For the exam, it's things like setting the scrolling, unsetting the scrolling, possibly giving something a frame border. So you just put in one there if you wanted to give it a border. And that's what's important in this section. For the links, you need to be able to tell the link. So we know we want to open this page, but we need to tell them where to open it. So the target is equal to main, and that wording main is coming from the name that we gave each frame. So hopefully that answers all the questions that you have. I'm going to finish it there.